You pick the side, I just hope you gon' stand on it.
Welcome to the Standonitpod. This is our first ever pod. Thank you for joining. This is a sports talk show where me and my longtime friend and brother have real conversations, analyzing and breaking down the game we love without gimmicks or clickbait. My name is Khalil Chapman. I'm here with my co-host,
Delonte Bellamy.
Yes, sir.
Dog.
We're just going to go over a couple of the podcast guidelines for y'all to understand how we get down. So number one, if you hear something you disagree with or you believe is invalid, you got to challenge it or you got to challenge the co-host. Therefore, you standing on it. All arguments must be backed by film, must be backed by stats, must be backed by real game experience. You can't just be hating. And then the last one is this is a little caveat. We won't go for any Kobe or Curry slander, hate, or just unnecessary trolling, because those are our NBA goats. From there, we're just gonna tell y'all a little bit about how we got started, and a little bit about our sports story. So, Tay, you wanna let them know where this all coming from?
First off, appreciate my boy Cam for being behind the lens. I appreciate my dog, but also no Kobe slander. We ain't playing none of that. I kick you off this shit if y'all so. But no, I've been knowing my boy since 6th grade. Went to Anna Brewer Middle School together, and when I first met him, we hit it off, and we had a 6-period class. Coach Reed, shout out Coach Reed.
Man.
We was just talking about sports every day, and that was my favorite player. Y'all know is Kobe, so we were just talking about Kobe, LeBron. That was a big debate back then. We just talking about so much stuff, and he knew what he was talking about. I really don't talk sports with everybody, but he knew what he was talking about since day one. So we've been locked in ever since, and this is my brother. So
yeah, for us we would be arguing with all of our friends, Hakeem, Michael Fluker, Jamal, Donovan, Dwayne, and I just remember, the energy that comes from those conversations was hella funny.
Yeah.
And I think as adults, we want to find spaces where we could chop it up, argue, talk about our favorite sports, talk about the bets that we see, and have a good time. So that's where it's coming from. We're gonna talk a little bit about our sports story before we get into some of the topics and segments we got for y'all today. So I'm gonna pass it off to my brother once again. Just let the folks know what your sports story is. Where did you play? How long did you play? And what sports did you play?
First off, free Keem too. When we first started, I started in basketball when I was 2 years old. He had a little hoop, and my pops gave me a basketball, and I put it in the hoop for the first time. And ever since then, I've been liking basketball. Been my favorite sport. I used to play basketball in the bush ride. We used to have the Warriors stuff on, even though I really don't fool with the Warriors. But it's some pictures out there. Y'all can find them with me in some Warriors gear with the number 23. But I used to play there. Then I used to play with the Oakland Rebels. Played for them for a couple years. Also played for the Dynamites. Oakland Dynamites for about 3 years or whatever. And then I met a lot of my friends there and lost some of my friends there, Long live Mari, long live Vaughn, all that stuff. So then when we got in high school or middle school, we was playing Anna Brewer, me and Khalil. Like you said, Hakeem, Donovan, Abdul, that was my boy. He was knocking down threes all the time.
BK.
And then we all used to either have high tops or ball fades. I don't know who thought that was a good idea to have ball fades, man. Still mad at my pops for that, but we used to be playing basketball. Coach Shoutout was our coach, and we had good times, man. So, and then after that, I went to Skyline High School, and I played basketball there from 9th grade to 12th grade year. Some of my funniest moments playing basketball is at Skyline. Them boys was crazy, bro. I got so many stories to tell. It's going to be on future episodes. But so we did that, and then that was it after that. And then we here now doing this podcast.
Yeah, for me, I play basketball, baseball, football. Baseball is really the first love. We're going to talk a lot of basketball and football on the pod. we're gonna sprinkle some baseball in there too, though, because that's what I started out playing.
For sure.
As well as running track. I used to run track. Rest in peace, Justin. 9 letters. Used to run track with Jew, way back in the day. But yeah, started off playing. I went to Crocker Highlands before I went to Edna Brewer. Played with a bunch of cats there. Ryan Jones, Malik Gordon, Dean, a couple guys who I used to play basketball, baseball with. Then met Tay at Edna Brewer, and really just got into kind of that basketball environment, going to tournaments, doing the whole 9. I played a little bit of Jada Fly. I played 3D Ballers. I played a little bit of Oakland Rebels. And then went to St. Mary's and played basketball for 3 years and football for 2 years. And so I played a little bit of quarterback and strong safety. And then on the basketball court, played a little bit of everything. Was at a small high school, so I was one of them small cats playing 4 and playing 5. So I also got some crazy stories about guarding cats I had no business guarding. We're like 6'9", playing at Power 5 schools.
Baby Draymond.
Exactly. But yeah, just want to give you all a little breakdown of where we from and sports we played. And we're just going to get into it. We're going to do at least 3 segments every podcast. We're going to have a couple of routine things where we may ask a co-host to stand on something. We may ask for their best bet. We may ask for their athlete of the day. Or we'll close at the end with our on this day. So on this day, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this happened. Just to let y'all know about basketball history and football history so that y'all stay in the loop. Our first segment, kicking it off with the NBA playoffs. Tay, man, what series got you locked in right now, like a phone on D&D locked in? It could be a series we watching now or just one of the series from the playoffs.
So I'm gonna answer both of those questions. The series that had me locked in, like I didn't want to talk to nobody, was the first round when the Lakers was playing the Timberwolves. Man, I'm still mad about that. We'll get to that later. But that was a series I was locked in because it was some great games. It just couldn't close it out at the end. But and Anthony Edwards showed why he's one of the best players in the NBA. But right now, I'm leaning towards the Pacers and Knicks series for a multitude of things. Nobody thought the Pacers was going to even sniff the second round, and they are like 2 wins away from, possibly going to the NBA Finals. And Tyrese Halliburton, he's been doing his thing. He's been real clutch. I know he took that most overrated by the NBA players personal.
Yeah, he's taking that on one.
So he's been being clutch after clutch, and they doing it, and they playing together. And a lot of teams don't do that anymore. And it's really working in their favor. They can go to their bench. They got scorers out there. And, Pascal just had almost 40 points game 2. And they can have a switch it up. It might be Halliburton one day. It might be Siakam. It might be Miles Turner. It might be Nesmith. Nesmith was looking like Stephen Curry game 1. He was just making everything. So that has my attention right now. And game 3 is right now probably being played. So we'll see who wins that.
We'll get into this later, but I'm gonna agree with you on the series for right now. I think that Knicks Pacers series is just such a difference in offense. Like you watch the Knicks and it's a lot of slow. Like Jalen Brunson is hella ball dominant. He taking shots with 4 left on the shot clock, and I think they're doing this methodical, like searching for mismatches that aren't there.
Yeah.
Everybody on Indiana can strap it up. You know what I'm saying? They slapping the floor with it. So I'm like, bruh. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on now. Like, Jalen Brunson, we searching for a big, and all they bigs is ready to go. Or Miles Turner is switching off. So I'm with you. I think the Pacers got it. I think it's a fun series. Anytime you see New York in the playoffs, it's good for basketball.
Yep.
But, man, they don't got it. Indiana run like a well-oiled machine. They're like 10 passes until they get a shot or something like that. That's like a coach's dream. So I'm with you. That series got me locked in. Who do you think is the biggest surprise? And we might have just spoken about it. Who's the biggest surprise of the playoffs so far?
The biggest surprise, honestly, would be Indiana because they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but they got swept by Boston 4 games. But they thought that was a fluke because everybody they played that season, everybody got hurt or whatever. But they beat Milwaukee handily. And then Cleveland was a number 1 seed, had 66 wins. And they beat them handedly, 4-1. And now they playing the Knicks on the road. They beat them 2 games, and they did what they were supposed to do. They protected. Now they get to protect home court and to possibly sweep them, or might even go 5 or 6. But they did what they were supposed to do. So I'm rocking with them, man. I think they're gonna go to the finals.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I'm gonna go kind of opposite. As a team that we maybe thought was gonna do better. Man, the Cavs was disappointing, man. I know they dealt with injury, but that was a team all season that played like complete basketball.
Yeah.
Them boys look boo-boo. Them boys look boo-boo in that round. I mean, it was a couple games in the last like 3-4 minutes of the game, they couldn't get the ball past half court.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what I was watching. So I mean, biggest surprise is like one of the number 1 teams in the league that was killing all year defensively. Like from top to bottom, they're well-rounded. They can rebound. They can defend.
Yep.
They can shoot the ball. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are magnificent, but they choked it. They choked it. To me, I'm like, they lost to a team that's not maybe as talented, but that plays way better as a group.
To piggyback on what you just said, I just feel like Indiana played with more heart.
Yeah.
The Cavs was probably smelling themselves. They really just smacked everybody in the regular season, and when it was time, they faced some adversity. They didn't know how to handle it, and Donovan Mitchell, he's been in the NBA for a minute, and he's been in the playoffs like every year.
6-7 seasons.
Yep, he's been in the playoffs every year, and he can't get past the second round. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that team, but I don't know if you try to run it back or try to, Mobley. They got a good piece in Mobley.
They got a good piece.
Donovan Mitchell
really
just got first team All NBA, but.
When Darius Garland is healthy, I think, and not to cut you off, but I don't want to like spite them for being hurt.
Yeah.
When Darius Garland is healthy and they have Jared Allen and they have the whole picture, that's a good squad. But you can't get to this point and then everything falls apart. You know what I'm saying? One person's out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can't get the ball past half court.
Right.
That's craziness. But
yeah.
I wouldn't blow it up. I would look for. Ty Jerome, my man, the player from the Himalayas. We used to have Ty Jerome on the Warriors bench, man.
He the reason why they might have lost. He only averaged 2
but he was
points
the reason why he was the reason why the bench unit was so strong this year. So
yeah.
Sometimes, man, what got you there is the thing that kills you.
Right.
And for them, like the do it by committee was the thing that got him there, and at the end the committee couldn't do it. So
right.
I would think to strengthen that committee, the bottom half of that bench, I would get some players that could actually play.
Yeah.
That can go get their own bucket, like maybe you can't probably poach this guy, but like a Benedict Mather. You know what I'm saying? They need more guys.
They just need a bucket
that can stretch
on
it
the
like
bench.
that.
Yep,
yeah, and
sure.
we'll play hard. Less kind of a Dean Wade come in to do one thing. Boy, if he was on my team, I would be hot because if he ain't making threes.
And Sam Merrill.
Yeah, if they ain't making threes, they can't play.
Yep.
Which team is hooping like they got nothing to lose?
Ooh. Honestly, I want to say either OKC.
Yeah.
Because OKC, they just had a hell of a series with the Nuggets. They won 7 games, and that was really like the battle of the MVPs.
Yeah.
And they got out that, series, and they're a young team, so they could have folded. And they was down in a couple of those games in the fourth quarter against the Nuggets, and they came back.
Yeah.
And I think Shea's taking it personal that, people were saying he shouldn't have won MVP. And we'll get to that later. But I think that they're hooping real good. I know they just got smacked by the Timberwolves, but, it's a first to 4, not first to, 3 or 2 or whatever. So
yeah,
they've been hooping like I don't know.
Yeah, I stick with you there. I think they kind of playing with house money. Sam Presti, if y'all don't know, Sam Presti is an absolute genius. He's who's the guy from Boston who used to fleece people in the trades? Danny Ainge. He's the new form Danny Ainge. He does it in a nicer way. He may not be like disrespecting people, but I think over time people overvalued a lot of players. And what's unfortunate is when you do that, like you end up, there's teams who may give an overhaul for that player, and you end up with one team having 7 picks for a player that isn't even on your roster anymore, right? And so I think the Thunder did that a couple times. They're sitting on a whole bunch of picks still.
Yeah, they got 11 first-round picks through 2023.
And they have
2030, sorry.
They have a top to bottom, like, really, really good roster.
Yep.
You got some young little 3-and-D guys that I think they're gonna ship out this year.
Yeah.
If you're a Lakers team, if you're a Warriors team, I would look at some of them 3-and-D guys
Definitely
they got on that bench.
Definitely need some defenders, man.
But I mean, you put yourself in position to where like, all right, look, even if all right, they get past the Timberwolves, if they make it to the finals,
right?
If they lose the finals, you're like, man, we got J-Dub, we got SGA, we got Chet, we got Isaiah Hartenstein, we got. Who's the other guy? Caruso, they got him locked up, I think.
Lou Dort.
And I'm like, oh, man, all those guys are they're definitely all under 30.
Yep, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that locks them up for the future. At this point, they're playing with house money.
They really like a college team because so many of their players are so young. But I agree with you on that. But I also think that they need to win this year because it's open for the taking. It's like, you can't think just because y'all young, y'all got so much time. You seen that with Russ, KD, Harden. They got to the finals and they never got back.
I agree with you, and that's a good analogy. Because if we were to look at like SGA, J-Dub, and Chet, like a, I don't even like making no comparison.
Nah, I'm just saying that.
But if you were to look at it like that, like you can't get past that second apron the same way you used to be able to. So you don't have a whole window where you're like, man, these cats are young. We can keep them young, and then we can get better later because they'll have the experience. You ain't gonna be able to pay them 3 cats if it plan out the way it's supposed to. They're gonna be each of them $250+ million players. Yeah, that small market in Oklahoma City is not gonna be able to pay for.
I heard Shea is eligible to get a 5-year, $380 million contract.
And he should take every single penny.
For sure,
he should take every penny.
He deserves it.
You think about, but this, and we'll move on. But this is the last thing I'll say. You think about a guy like SGA. I think about Anthony Edwards. I think about a Tyrese Halliburton. I'm like, the reason why you try to max out now is because it protects yourself versus injury. It protects yourself versus the Brandon Roy situations. You know what I'm saying? Like
D Rose,
the D Rose situations. It protects you because after that moment, you're locked out. Yeah, with a lot of guaranteed money. So,
no doubt.
He's killing it. I think he earned the MVP, but that's another conversation we'll get to. This playoffs, what's one thing you're standing on?
Oh, I'm standing on Rudy Gobert as a liability. I don't know why he got all that money. He freaking was looking like Hakeem Olajuwon against us. Freaking 27 points and 20 rebounds, and he barely even scoring 6 points against the Thunder. Like, you getting $200 million and you not... Man, don't even get me started on him. That's what I'm standing on. Get his ass on the bench. That's what they need to do. Start Nas Reed. And he a free agent next year or this year, so they need to prioritize keeping him over Gobert.
Nas Reed need to move them puppy. He need to play some defense.
Yeah, but he better than Gobert. He's making $200 million, scoring 6 points.
I ain't somebody to count somebody else's pockets, but if there's anybody I would ask for some money, it would be that motherfucker right there.
Have he got better to you ever?
Oh no, I mean, in my opinion, he's not good.
He does the same thing. If I'm making that type of money, bro, I'll have the best trainers. I'll build a gym in my house. I'll work on some post moves.
I'll be able to shoot free throws.
Yeah, go hook up with Hakeem Olajuwon. Get some post moves. You 7'4", no post moves. Like, what are we doing? You should be abusing Chet. Chet probably weigh 180 pounds. And you're not doing nothing.
He should have 40 points in this game.
Man, that's
I disagree with that. Yeah. I mean, I would stand on that too. I think the one thing that I want to stand on is give Julius Randle his respect. I think leaving New York, he was a highly disrespected player. Yeah. And I get it. Like, when you have some up and down years in New York, the whole world whole world had people believing that Melo wasn't amazing because of some up and down years in New York. You turn on the Melo tape, it's some of the best shit you could ever watch. I do think the player we saw leaving New York was not as motivated as the player that we see today, and I think a lot of like the pride of Minnesota today rests on his shoulders. Yeah,
I also agree on that. I think I also probably want to shout out Anthony Edwards because, you know, Anthony Edwards going to get the best out of you. You see what he did. He did with Cat, with Karl Anthony Towns. They was in the Western Conference Finals last year. Julius Randle, they in the Western Conference Finals. And they both just had good games yesterday, so I agree on that.
He encouraging him, too. They sit in the press conference. And this is the shit that's important. Like, people don't understand. Like, number one, they still people. Yep. Like, they still human, right? But, like, the ins and outs of a basketball game is a lot. It brings up a lot of emotions. for your brother in the press conference to always be like right next to you, like, I got you,
back.
you good, you need to shoot more, whoop de whoop. I think for him to be the best player on the team saying that to everybody on the team, I think that make you want to play harder for him, you want to show up more. And I think when you watch the Timberwolves, you can feel Randall energy a little different. But yeah, against the Warriors, man, I didn't think the Timberwolves looked too good. They won in 5, but
yeah, they didn't look too good.
I think we looked awful.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. That's not a hard team to beat if you're a solid NBA team. The Warriors without Steph Curry, and if they didn't have Julius Randle, to me, that would have been a really, really disgusting series for the Timberwolves. He saved them a lot of airtime from getting roasted.
I'm like one of the biggest Warriors trolls, but I'm here to keep it real on not just be playing all the time. But Curry was hurt, so it would have been interesting to see how that series would have played out. Would it went 7 games?
Yeah.
I still was leaning toward Minnesota winning, but if Curry was there, it definitely would have been more than 5 games for sure.
Yeah, if he was healthy.
Yeah, it would for sure. I had to go. I had to go in 7 though. But
after that San Quentin ass defense that Houston Rockets was playing.
Yeah.
Boy, after watching the Thunder play.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how any average NBA fan like I don't understand how we are receiving this, bruh.
Yeah.
You watch SGA play. He drives to the lane, lifts his elbow up. If somebody touches elbow, foul. Get to the line.
You don't see the faces he's making.
Steph Curry drive to the lane, goes up. Somebody jumps into his body. You fall 3 rows into the stands. No foul. They say it's the rule of verticality. I'm like, if we're going to call a game like this for young superstars, I think the scoring is just going to continue to go up. The foul gimmicking, like the James Harden style of offense that we saw in Houston, like that's still going to continue to rise. But I'm like, if a 40-year-old, Steph is basically 40, if a 40-year-old can't get a call, and he's averaging 28 points a game, and he's one of the best guards ever, I'm like, what are we doing here? I digress.
No, I agree. I agree. Steph ain't never got a great whistle and he's a superstar, and usually superstars get great whistles, but he don't really get it like that. But
yeah, the difference in officiating though. It's
you could tell.
It's crazy. They were tackling folks in the Houston series, but in the Timberwolves OKC series, and you can't touch him on the arm.
See McDaniels push Shea because he was mad. He's like, bro, I'm tired of all this.
He's better than me. Yeah. He's better than me. He better than me.
I think that's what he did that for all the fans. He was like, I'm gonna push him because that's what a lot of people probably want to do to Shea too.
Speaking of some of the young cats on that team, who's the better young core right now between the Wolves and the Thunder? When we say the Wolves, I mean Anthony Edwards. I'm talking about your boy McDaniels. I'm talking about Nas Reed. I'm talking about N'Keal Alexander Walker. Some of those young boys. Are you taking that young core or SGA's Thunder's young core for the next couple of years?
I'm going to take OKC's. It's not probably really a debate. It's because if you think about it, they got all their players on rookie contracts. Well, Shea's about to get a super max contract, but, J-Dub, they got Chet. They still together. Anthony Edwards' core, like you said, Nas Reed is up to be a free agent. Alexander Walker is up to be a free agent. McDaniels, they got locked in. But a lot of their core is, like I said, Rudy Gobert, he's under contract for a while, and Julius Randle has a player option for this year. So we'll see. But OKC, they just got so many draft picks. Having 11 draft picks through 2030 is crazy. So I think that young core is definitely, I would take them. And Shea's only getting better. He's then got better every year, so I would take them.
And then Halliburton's Pacers or Brunson's Knicks, the young cores of both. So thinking of Anunoby, thinking of Karl-Anthony Towns, thinking of the cats they got over there versus Nesmith.
I think I'm going to lean.
Those guys on the Pacers.
The reason why I'm going to lean with the Pacers is because I feel like they're like a togetherness team. Like, they just always, they seem like they go out together after games and all hang out together with each other. The Knicks, I don't think, I know some of the Nova cats play with each other, but I'm just saying, Cat is hit or miss sometimes. Anunoby's a great defender. He can shoot threes, score a little bit. But I think the Pacers is here to stay because how they play. Their playing style makes players want to go over there. Like,
Yeah.
if I was in the NBA and I seen that, I'd be like, I want to play with that team first. Like how you said about Jalen Brunson, he holds the ball a long time. Halliburton, he'd give it up and let somebody work, or he'd get it back, do a pick and roll, pick and pop with Miles Turner.
Yeah.
So I would take their young core because they're just only developing, getting better. And back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals, nothing to sneeze at.
The only thing that I would add is for the Pacers, they got a couple of cats.
Yeah.
The center, Miles Turner, not young.
Yeah, not young for
but
sure.
He's one of the most important players on the team.
Very
I
underrated.
think the young core understands how he facilitates the offense. I mean, I'm not saying like the offense runs through him.
Yeah.
But he's like the outlet.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's if the person initiating all the offense is Tyrese and then cats are firing and driving and kicking based off that.
Yeah.
Your guy in the middle or your guy in the corner is always Miles Turner. He's always there. He doesn't move.
Yeah.
He's always there. Once you draw two, the second guy commits and he knows exactly where to be. He's a knockdown shooter. And I think it's been an important presence for the young cats on that team. Who's their backup point?
T.J. McConnell.
T.J. McConnell.
A.K.A. T.J. Nash.
Yo, that dude, I think he does a lot for their young core.
Very underrated. They play his role.
They got some vets, though. Like, this is what I'm pointing out is that those two, I think, are really impactful in the way that the young cats' play style is getting created. You see Nimhard starting to be a little bit more aggressive. Dominant, you know what I'm saying, on ball defense. I think that's where T.J. McConnell starts to, like, rub off on his teammates. So
and he's picking up people 94 feet.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to say about the Miles Turner stuff, if you watch the last two games, they are involving Cat and Jalen Brunson in every action.
Yeah.
And Cat and Jalen Brunson is their liability.
They don't want to defend.
Yeah,
they don't
so
want to defend.
when Tyrese is doing a pick and pop with Miles Turner, it's being open because they're not moving laterally quickly enough, and Miles Turner is getting open threes, and it's messing up the.
He's doing what he's made millions of dollars off this exact role right here.
So he's very underrated for sure.
Yeah, he is. I think it's going to take a lot IQ wise. I mean, and when you play people 40 minutes a game, I'm not, in the fourth quarter. He's not thinking well enough, fast enough, or on his feet enough to jab. Get back to the shooter or tell him to switch. I'm going out. Like he's not operating on that kind of plane defensively. This is why I love Draymond Green. Please tap in if you don't know. But to be coordinating the defense, to be tapping in, to be switching, and to be blocking shots in a way that a 7-footer should.
And the Knicks switch everything, so that's why they getting, like, when they call for a pick and roll and Brunson, because they just want to switch everything, and that Thibodeau won't change.
Well, I don't know why Tibbs. So I'm not hating on Tibbs. That's a great NBA coach. I don't know why.
Still mad at him though.
Why you play 6 guys? 6-7 guys. Like 38 minutes, 34 minutes, 32 minutes every single game.
You'd think you'd know about D Rose being hurt.
But the mental breakdowns, like the mental lapse of the Knicks over the last 5 minutes of a game, is just insane. The turnovers, right? No boxing out, the loose balls, the drawn fouls. Like, I think those things really hurt them. And, like, some of that has to do with, like, the fatigue, the mental fatigue, the physical fatigue. Tibbs is a great coach. You can't win I don't think you can win a championship.
I don't think he's a championship coach, though. I think he's just a couple rounds coach, and that's it.
Well, this leads into my next question and final question of the segment. It's Jalen Brunson versus the field. I think when we think about the Knicks, one, are they more heart than hoop? Is it more like what we want to believe, what we love about New York? When we see New York doing good, it's good for the league. Or is Jalen Brunson really like that? And could he take them back from down 0-2, losing the first 2 games at home?
About Jalen Brunson, man, I think it's just been a lot of. This is why we made this podcast, because there's been a lot of recency bias, like people saying you the greatest Knick of all time already. And you ain't won nothing. Like, cause y'all went to the conference finals, he the greatest Knick. And people might not agree, but I still think Melo's a better Knick than him. So it's just people. So it's like there's a lot of recency bias, but if he can segue into coming back from 0-2 and actually winning the series. And I'll put some more respect on his name, but it's like that's the problem now in this sports world. A lot of recency bias is saying anything for clickbait. So we gonna see what he's gonna do.
Where do you rank him? Ant, SGA, Halliburton, Brunson. Where do you rank him in that mix?
I would probably put him. I'll probably put him third or fourth, but I'll probably put him fourth right now. Just right now, speaking, especially if I was players that I would want to like play on my team or whatever.
Yeah, start a team around.
Yeah, I would definitely probably put him fourth. It's like he has a nice story. I know Dallas wasn't trying to pay him. He came to New York and turned them around, but
that was crazy. Dallas not trying to pay him is crazy.
Yeah, so Halliburton, I would go probably SGA, Ant, Halliburton, and then Jalen Brunson. That'd be my four. What about you?
I don't disagree with that. I would run with the same four. I like that one.
Okay, cool.
That's crazy. So, man, I think to your point, Brunson does get a lot of love during the year. Clutch player of the year, getting out-clutched in the series
by Halliburton
against Halliburton.
Yeah.
If the Pacers win this series, if they go on to the finals and represent, what does it really say about the East? Or does it say anything about the East?
I actually want to get into that. We're going to get to my whole analysis at the end, but I think the East is going to be wide open because, Jason Tatum, sorry that happened to him, but he tore his Achilles, and he's going to be out for the whole season next year. So, and then Dame tore his Achilles for the Bucks.
Yeah,
the Bucks is not going to be very competitive.
Well, Dame. Get well, brother.
For sure. Hoping for a speedy recovery, but the Bucks and the Celtics got to figure some stuff out. The Pacers is right there. The Knicks. It's not that the Cavs are still there too, but the East is going to be wide open next year for sure. I don't think Jaylen Brown could be the number one option and go to the championship. I know he won Finals MVP, but Tatum was right there with him, so I would think the Pacers have a good chance of keeping that young core and trying to run it back if they don't win. And I think they probably put up a good fight versus whoever, if it's Minnesota or the Thunder. So we'll see them on that.
Right on. Now on Tatum's injury, does this injury give the Celtics a built-in excuse because they choked?
Nah. I think they were already, before Tatum got hurt, it was like 3 minutes left. They was down 9. I think it was 104-113.
And this is Game 6?
No, it was
Game 5.
I want to say, Game 5. He was having a heck of a performance. I think he probably would have scored 50 that game. I think he ended up with like 43, 44.
Mm-hmm.
But they were already losing with 3 minutes left, and I think they would have lost that series. But like I said, him getting hurt just messed up their season for next year because it's like they can't keep Drew Holiday, Porzingis, him, and Jaylen Brown, and Derek White. So probably 2 out of those 5 is out of there.
Tingus Pingus got to go.
Yeah.
It just didn't work.
I don't even know what the heck happened to him. I heard he got some illness or something. I hope he feel better, but
that brother got...
He just always heard something with him.
The measles or something. I don't know. He had something. He was down for like 83 days.
Yeah.
He had something all of 83
I don't even
days.
want to tell you what they said he might have on Twitter, man. But
that's what I'm saying.
I don't even want to say it, but we ain't gonna do that to him.
This is daytime hours.
We don't want to get sued, man. We don't get sued.
Not stand on it at night.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, man. I think Tatum is a great player. I think he's been in the MVP kind of conversation of the last couple of years.
Yeah. I
think this is like the worst time for this type of injury to happen in terms of the arc of his career. Brother was taking off, trying to fight back in this series. They came off a ring last year, had some pretty good momentum there in Boston. What does this mean for Boston going forward for their young star? Man,
that was great points about Tatum. I know he had like an iffy summer because, he won the championship, but he didn't get Finals MVP. He made it to the Olympics, won a gold medal, but Steve Kerr didn't play him.
Didn't get no
so he's, he was trying to prove himself this year, that he should have been playing in the Olympics and he should have won Finals MVP. And when he got there conference finals, they were up. And that's the thing I want to talk about actually real quick is that people were so worried about shooting threes so much, and it messed up everything. Like, they was up by 20 points game 1 and game 2, and they kept shooting threes.
And shot their way out the game.
And I think they went 20 and 99 the 2 games when they lost from three-pointers. And they could have just took mid-range shots. They could have drove, but they want to just keep shooting threes, and that messed them up. So, I don't know. I think Jason Tatum just needs to get in the lab and just, work on his body and try to come back better than ever. I think it's not over for him. I know Achilles injuries is bad, but you see what happened with KD. He came back and he was doing his thing. So, we just hope he get well soon. But it's looking kind of rough for them right now. So
yeah, tell him to put some aloe vera on it.
Put some icy hot on it.
It'll bounce back.
Yeah.
Man, now we're gonna bring it to our side of the league. Lake Show and Dub Nation are enjoying a beautiful vacation in Cancun or Cabo or somewhere in Mexico, but we are not in the playoffs. Let's keep it a buck. Is this the end of this current configuration of the Lakers and the Warriors?
I'm going to speak on my team. I'm going to just speak on your Warriors. I'm going to just speak on my team as the Lakers. I've been a Lakers fan since I came out the womb, man. Probably my first word probably was Lakers. So I just think, man, LeBron, y'all know, if y'all really know me, y'all know I do not like LeBron. It just hurt that he even on my team. But I think he got to go, bro. Like, that's my stand on it take right there is that he got to go. It's like, we can't keep doing the same thing. Like, we tried. Like, the bubble championship, I really don't even count that as a championship. I really don't care about that championship. Yeah, I don't care about that. A couple, maybe other Laker fans do, but I don't. Like, winning one championship in 7 years as a Laker, he about to be his longest tender in his career with the Lakers now.
Where does he go, or what type of haul do the Lakers get back for a 40 to 41-year-old LeBron James?
I think he has a player option of $52 million. I would just,
and that's a lot to pay.
Yeah, I would just let him.
He's really good.
I would just let him do what he want to do. But we got Luka, and that's a whole nother subject right there with him. I'm not really sold on that either, but. We got Luka, but we just got to get some defenders, man. But it's hard because if you got 3 out of 5 of your starters being liabilities on defense, even if you get somebody, Luka got to guard somebody. Austin Reeves,
a lot of holes.
Yeah, Austin Reeves got to guard somebody, and LeBron got to guard somebody. And then they rented. We didn't get no center, which was so dumb to me. Why did we not get a center?
When the one you have, you don't play. Albeit you could be terrible. But for a team who needs a center and is playing against a team who has a center, you should probably play the center that's on your roster.
Man, Rudy Gobert is looking like Hakeem Olajuwon, 27 and 20 rebounds, bro.
With nobody on the team over 6'9" in the game.
Man, I bet you if you go pull up them highlights, he didn't do no post move at all.
No, yeah, all putbacks, all tip dunks, all alleys. So yeah, I mean. I don't know. I don't think the future is bleak in LA. I think you guys have a lot of assets. There's a lot of the grass is green.
We got Luka, but like I said, I'm not sold if his style of play wins the championship. I just think I don't trust nobody that. Like, I'm not saying you got to be Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Kobe, or anything on the defensive aspect, but you got to put some effort in there. Half of the defense is putting in effort. Yeah. Like, you moving your feet, you moving your hands. Like, he's just letting people blow by him. If you watch the series,
the tape is
he's just
bad.
getting blown by. He's not even putting no effort.
It's parked car bad.
Man, I done seen old ladies play better defense than freaking Luka, man. So
he does the old lady defense. Yeah. No, it's bad. It's almost unwatchable.
I'm not sold on it right now. Maybe he could, he still got time to work on it, but it's looking bad for him right now.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I think for the Warriors, man, Draymond, Steph, and Kuminga, and like that young core, it's not a mix that's going to work.
Right.
If we want to win a championship. If we want to, like, train up this young core and waste NBA seasons getting them ready for a future that probably isn't going to happen for the Warriors, and we keep doing what we're doing. Moody, Kuminga, Trace Jackson Davis, those 3 cats specifically would have better careers in other places. And I think it's become really, really obvious, especially for Kuminga, that if he went somewhere else, he would have playing time, volume, and opportunity to be great. Here during the season, that's not what it looked like. He started the season off relatively strong, but got hurt, was out for like 30-something games with an ankle, which makes me feel like it was more than that. Maybe there were some other things, some other conversations at play, but his style didn't mesh well with the offense that we run currently. That doesn't mean he's a bad player. I think it just means at this moment it doesn't fit. If we're not gonna make it fit, then we gotta move off. We gotta move off him. We can't pay him $25 million to sit on the bench.
I was just about to ask you what you think they're gonna do with Kuminga, because Steve Kerr just said like it was hard to play him. You know, him and Jimmy.
I have strong feelings about Steve Kerr. Many of them are like, if a player cannot play in the system that you created, that's a thing.
Right.
But if the reason that you created the system is hurt, then fuck the system. Play Kuminga and make it happen. So like when Steph Curry goes down or when Steph isn't in the game, I don't know if there's a reason to be mad at Kuminga for taking ill-advised or selfish shots. I was watching Gilbert Arenas just say this. He said, "Bro, if you're looking off Podziemski, great.
Yeah.
If you're not passing to Podziemski for three, great. But if it's Steph Curry, then that's where I have the problem, and that's where I agree. I don't think the process of like getting this young core ready is gonna happen quickly. And the players that we had when we won in 2022 were not young. We had Bialisha. Was it Bialisha? I forget the brother's name. Yeah, Bialisha. We had Otto Porter Jr. These are like veteran cats.
But y'all did have Jordan Poole, and that's where I think. This is where I want to segue into that, is that y'all letting him go was a bad mistake.
Yeah.
I know.
And not getting anything
I know
back.
Draymond is the heart and soul of y'all team, but y'all need a bucket getter. Like, it showed in that series. Like, Curry went down, and nobody, even though Jimmy, that's not really Jimmy's forte. Like, he can score, but he's not like a,
nobody can go
like
get
Jordan Poole. Regardless, I know he didn't really play defense like that, but he was getting buckets, and in that championship run, he was amazing. So
I agree.
I just think that's where it came back to hunt you that y'all don't have Jordan Poole for sure.
That for sure came back to hunt us a couple times, not just this season, but last season too.
For sure. For sure.
All good. At this moment, appreciate you for the NBA conversation. We got a lot to look forward to, especially as Lakers and Warriors fans, although not all of it feels positive. but we look forward to hopefully a fruitful offseason where some good moves are made. We're going to transition to our second segment, talking about both the NFL draft and the upcoming season. Got a couple good questions for you, brother. We're going to put our GM hats on and our NFL evaluator hats on and talk about the draft steals versus the reaches. Who got it right and who fumbled?
Yeah, I'm glad we doing this, man. We at NBA, NFL. We talk about here and there life stuff. We gonna be talking about everything on this pod. But for sure, NFL. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I love basketball. That's my first love. But I actually like watching football more than basketball. Just to let y'all know. But I think the teams that I like that drafted well was the Baltimore Ravens, the Carolina Panthers, and the Philadelphia Eagles. I think all they picks they made were great picks in the position of needs. And just harping on the Panthers, they got two good wide receivers in my opinion. T-Mac from Arizona and Jimmy Horn, one of my favorite players in college. After watching Colorado, they were some good picks. So I like that they're trying to help Bryce Young out. Get them some weapons. You know, the NFC South is not a great division. I know the Bucks have been winning all the division games in there, but I think the Panthers can make some noise, and you know, you never know, they might get in the playoffs. There's always one team that's been bad, and then the next year they go in the playoffs. So, like the Commanders. So, I think the Panthers did a good job. What about you?
Yeah, I think there were some GMs that were cooking. I also think there were some guys who were just up there throwing names on the board. So, I love Tampa Bay, and I know we hit, and I'm saying I really enjoy watching Tampa play football.
Yeah.
They hit on the first round wide receiver. I just didn't like what they did with the rest of their draft. Mm-hmm. I feel like there were a lot of needs on defense that they did not address.
Yeah.
That maybe hey, look, I'm not their process evaluators. Maybe they see some promise in these guys that I didn't see watching their film. But that was a team I was super excited about going into the draft that didn't grab some of the guys that had sparked my interest. The team that did was the Los Angeles Chargers. They had 9 picks. To me, they hit on about 6 of them. The other 3 guys are still doing some film study on. their wide receivers and the first round running back they took should provide some help to a much needed situation. I think Herbert needs some dynamic movers, some offense, some middle of the field play, some juice out the backfield, and I think he gets it here. Keandre Lambert-Smith out of Auburn in the fourth round is a steal. Or excuse me, in the fifth round is a steal. They took Trey Harris out of Mississippi, and then their edge rusher they took out of South Carolina. South Carolina's D-line last year was massive. And so anybody to me who was picking their starters off that line came up winning. To me, their rounds 3 through 6 were absolutely strong. Yeah. That's the reason why I'm giving them some love. I think Harbaugh has a lot of ammunition, and that guy turns good young players into great vets.
It's funny that you say that because I picked the Ravens and you picked the Chargers. The Harbaugh brothers. Yeah. And they actually picked. The Charger GM actually was the Baltimore Ravens assistant GM, and they took him away from him.
Oh, wow, they picked him.
Yeah, so I think, they follow in the same formula. The Ravens have been good at drafting for years. So
okay, who was a team that was just up there like they didn't know what they was doing?
Honestly, the Steelers. I know the Steelers are a good franchise. I know Mike Tomlin has never had a losing record in 17 or 18 years as he's been a coach. But you guys picked Will Howard in the 6th round when, Shedeur Sanders was right there. We're going to get on Shedeur, I know, but y'all don't know. We got a lot of ammunition on here, but I just think y'all waiting on Aaron Rodgers to be y'all quarterback, and instead of thinking for the future, even if Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback for the next year or two, that's it. You got to plan for the future. So I think they should have grabbed a quarterback. And I feel like they didn't prioritize any offensive players like that. They got Caleb Johnson, a running back from Iowa, but I think they could have got more playmakers for Steelers. Especially, they probably knew they were trading George Pickens, so they should have definitely got some more offensive weapons, in my opinion. So I would say the Steelers for not drafting a quarterback early.
Yeah, and I got to get on the Saints. I think this is a team that I think their fans may be a little bit tired of at this point. They make decisions that don't always make any sense. I'm looking at the 2nd round. Yeah. Pick 40 with quarterback Tyler Shaw. I mean, Louisville wasn't awful when he was there. They weren't bad.
Man, almost older. He probably like twice our age, bro.
He's got, I think, a year or two on us. It is time to start a family, bro. But he is entering the NFL. Not trying to roast too much. I mean, I think if you're New Orleans, you're going for a guy who has a lot of college experience. In this instance, like, too much. There's a lot of history of injury on his resume, and you're in need of a quarterback, in my opinion. If you want to trot out Tyler Rattler, or Spencer Rattler, excuse me,
or Jake Hammond.
But I don't believe that's a good way forward. So picking a 26-year-old who's been in college for 7 years, who had 3 injuries back-to-back years in the last 3 years, it's just a head scratcher. Guy can throw the pill. I'm not hating, but
you seen that clip that he tried to do it behind the back pass?
Okay. No, the behind the back pass, and then the one where he like threw the duck, and it was awesome. I
don't know what they was thinking.
He's got some bad film out.
They had to be high when they made that pick.
He's got some bad film out. Real quick, do you want to share your steals of the draft?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to the Colorado boys. I got Jimmy Horn from the Panthers. I think they getting him in the 6th round. I think he had at least 3rd or 4th round talent for sure. And LeJante Wester, I'm telling y'all now, he's going to be a steal. Baltimore Ravens, y'all got a good receiver, man. He's one of the best route runners in the class. He might be the best route runner. And I know Travis was doing his thing in Colorado, but if y'all look at LeJante Wester's stats, man, he was putting up numbers. He almost had 1,000 yards, 10-plus touchdowns.
Yeah.
And Baltimore Ravens already talking about they want to use him in a punt return as a punt returner they've been looking for. So watch out for him, man. Come back to the podcast, and y'all see LeJante Wester doing his thing, and tell him I told y'all that about him.
I think for me, biggest steals, and I'm gonna mention this team a lot for multiple reasons. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. They took a pick at quarterback. I think it's a solid pick. I don't think he's gonna pan out quickly. Yeah. I think it's gonna take time. But this team took a running back that I love, and I went to Sac State. This is a Sac State alum, and he finished at Arizona State last year. He was absolutely amazing in the college football playoff. I think when you're good late in the year, when you're tired, dealing with injuries, you played a whole season, and then you're playing your best football. I mean, come on, what more can you ask for? And what feels more promising than that? Cam Scatabo,
Scat Pack.
from Arizona State. Round 4, pick number 3, I think that's a healthy pick.
Yeah.
That's a healthy pick. It's a good time to pick a durable back, and I think he'll be just that for the New York Giants. Getting into some of the perfect landing spots, maybe some good systems built around some guys, some guys entering some good situations. Which rookie landed in the best spot?
I know y'all will be like, man, this dude keeps saying something about Colorado, but I'm going to go with Travis, man. Like, the Jaguars traded up so many assets to get him from 5 to 2. And that should tell you something. They believe in his ability, man. And I think you don't have to be the number 1 receiver. They got Brian Thomas Jr., and he was the truth. Like, him and Malik Neighbors last year, rookie wide receivers were better than Marvin Harrison Jr., and everybody was saying he was the consensus number 1 wide receiver in the draft class.
Right.
So he could be the number 2 receiver. He's not going to get the best corners matchups. They're going to be on Brian Thomas Jr., and then he could play cornerback for Jaguars. He's probably their best cornerback right now. So I think it's tailor-made for him to succeed. And long as Trevor Lawrence, we're not going to even get on him today. I know I'm not really sold on him, but if he could just do his part, Travis Hunter could possibly be Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. You never know.
I agree, and I love the pick. I think with ETN, he'll be back off injury. I think they've got a nice receiver core down there.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think they address some needs on defense in the draft that they'll hope pan out.
Yep.
At cornerback, at safety, and at linebacker. For me, I'm looking to your guy over in Las Vegas, Ashton Genty. I think it's just the perfect situation. Our guy who used to be up in Seattle, he loves to run the ball.
Be small.
Pistol Pete, he loves to run the ball. They'll have a system and offense probably that'll lean more towards the inside zone. And Ashton Genty is going to eat. I mean, this dude is a freaking beast. He's a workhorse. I think they'll give him a whole bunch of carries. And I think once you see week 4 or week 5, he'll get some, build some rhythm, get some steam under his belt, and we'll find him finding himself a home in Las Vegas.
I agree with you on that. Just real quick, I think I was mad, honestly, that we didn't, we gonna get on him, but we didn't draft Shador. But I like the Ashton Genty pick just because I also was mad last year that we didn't get. I wanted us to get a corner. I actually wanted us to get Quinyon Mitchell, and I'm not just saying that because he did his thing this year. I actually wanted him. We needed a corner.
Solid, yeah.
I wanted a corner last year, but Brock Bowers, he was the truth. He was the best tight end in the league as a rookie. That's like unheard of. Like, there's only probably one person that could give up his run for his money, and that'd be your boy Kittle. But
yeah,
Brock Bowers did his thing. You see, he made the first team All-Pro.
And it don't even matter who throwing him the ball.
Exactly. So getting Ashton Genty, and you got Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers is an underrated receiver, man. I'm telling y'all.
Yeah.
He didn't drop no passes all season last year. So getting him, that's going to be a nice offense. If Geno Smith could just do his thing, man, we got a nice offense for sure.
I mean, yeah, I think the reason why this was my pick for perfect spot is because you're going to lean really heavily on Geno this year. He knows the system that Pete is bringing in. You have some quality receivers.
Yeah.
Man, you just need a back who can stay healthy, stay on his feet.
And I help the play action game.
Oh, yeah. You already know. You already know. Who's walking into a system tailor-made for them?
Ooh. I'm going to say Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia for the Baltimore Ravens. They already got a great safety in Kyle Hamilton, man. Kyle Hamilton, he plays in the box. Yeah. He plays in the box. He plays in the nickel. Play free safety, strong safety, and now you pair him with Malachi Starks. And if y'all watch his tape, man, I'm telling y'all, he had a play against Clemson where he baited him into thinking the route was open. He turned around, flipped his hips, caught an acrobatic interception. He's the truth, man. I'm telling y'all, he could play in the nickel. He could play free and strong safety just like Kyle Hamilton. So they need that in Baltimore. They got and he could get picks and stuff. So they need that. So I would say him. What about you?
I'm gonna go with two guys. I'm going over to the defensive side. Spent a lot of time because that's what we need over in San Francisco. Spent a lot of time watching edge rushers and defensive tackles, man. And two popped off the screen. Two linemen popped off the screen. While I was doing that, I was watching the unit of Georgia, their defensive unit, and then I was watching South Carolina's defensive unit just shake it up this year. Yeah, so I just want to lift up Mykel Williams. I think this is Robert Saleh's like dream pick.
Yep.
You get an athletic edge who he plays with a certain level of aggressiveness and violence that, I mean, if you're a Niner fan, this is like what we ask for. And then TJ Sanders, man, I think the Bills, I mean, I like the way the Bills build their line, offensive and defensive. They just look for the biggest, the strongest, and the meanest.
Yeah.
And man, this dude can ball. He can flat out ball. Those were the cats that I feel like walked into a system, a skill group, a position group that was like built for them. What pick made you say, yeah, that's not gonna work?
I'm gonna talk about the Browns and Dylan Gabriel, man. That was a head scratcher. I know the 26-year-old for the Saints was a head scratcher, but like, you gotta understand, Dylan Gabriel, nobody was talking about him at all during the draft process. They was talking about Shador, Cam Ward, and Jackson Dart. Them was the three quarterbacks. All these other quarterbacks, I was like, Dylan Gabriel, third round. What are we doing? I was like, he need a step stool just to see over the line. So I don't like that pick. I think that's a bad pick. And if you're going to draft him, why did you draft Shador? So something's not adding up there. But him using a third-round pick for him, y'all could have even swapped it, took Shador in the third round and took Dylan Gabriel in the fifth round, and it wouldn't be that big of an uproar. But I'm standing on that one. What about you?
Yeah, one pick, I mean, I don't know, I may be being kind of mean. I just don't think Jackson Dart is a fix-it-quick situation. I think he's in at least a 2-year, 3-year out from being able to start in the league. There's just a lot of risky play. I think there's some process development that's going to have to happen, reading the line of scrimmage, understanding coverage, knowing his hot routes, knowing his reads, having audibles. Like, I think that's going to be something that's hard for him. He wasn't put in that position in college. The one call clap, I'm like, I get it, it works, it's simple, but all you're doing is you're communicating to your team what your OC is giving you, and you're not necessarily translating any of that. And that is, I think, what we see with many good quarterbacks is their ability to break it down, understand the play for themselves, and understand the reads and reactions from those things, not just, get my play and go. So Jackson Dart, I'm just a little curious on how that's going to go.
I agree with you on that. Lane Kiffin is a good offensive mind, but it's his system, so he's doing what he's saying. Like he said, he did this thing with John Gruden on a quarterback class thing he has on YouTube, and he was telling him, like, he only had one call, and when he clapped, that mean go, and if he was doing a dummy clap, he would do like this or something. But you're like, now you an NFL quarterback, you got to read coverages, like you said, slide protections to the left or the right. You got to do hot routes. You got to sometimes change the play up. So I'm glad that he got Russ right there and Jameis Winston, because he don't have to get thrown in the fire. But I mean, y'all did spend the first round pick and y'all did trade up to get him. So eventually he's going to have to play. So
and you also just drafted somebody behind somebody else who's been a 1 year or 2 year rental. You know what I'm saying? I think Russ has a good experience. He's got some good veteran leadership, I guess, but I don't think he's going to get the job done there, and at some point they're going to look to turn the keys over. And if Jackson Dart's going to be your guy, I think there's a lot of learning that has to happen before he's put out on the field as your QB1.
I agree.
Who's the guy you're building a franchise around from this draft?
I don't got no watch, but that's what we're doing.
Shador.
Should have let me use your watch. I could have did it, but nah, I'm going with Shador, man. I think he's in the best situation when going to the Browns. A quarterback situation is not the best. Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, and Dylan Gabriel, I think he could beat out all of them. So I'm going to go with him. What about you? I'm
going to go with Cam Ward. I think sometimes lefties, it look a little different on the screen. That cat's cold, though, man.
Yeah.
Like, Cam Ward is cold. I think he's a gamer. I think he's one of those guys who, like, no matter where he's at, he's going to end up rising. You look where he started at Incarnate Word. Like that tape was a little crazy.
Yeah.
And then Washington State, I think that was one of the better, like, you could evaluate his talent, like just the raw talent of what's there. And then you're like, all right, if he's around better players in a better system with better competition, what will it look like? You throw him at the U, and we saw what it looked like. I think there were some pretty explosive games. Yeah. He had some games where he literally marched them back to victory, like resurrected the team himself.
I remember the Cal game.
And I think that, like, that had a big impact on why I make this decision too. But also, like, there's so much that goes into, like, being one of those players where it's like it don't matter. Like, put the ball in my hand and we have a chance. And I think he's one of those cats. I don't know if it'll be this first year that we see that, but I know at some point in his tenure in the NFL, we'll see that he's one of those guys.
I agree, because he had a chance. He was gonna he declared for the draft, but he didn't. He went back, and that was a smart decision because that draft quarterback class last year was a lot of quarterbacks, 5 first-round quarterbacks. So he made the right decision, and look, he a first-round pick and got a great contract. So shout out to Kim Ward.
Quick shout-outs. Last thing on the rookies, man. Why did Shoutout fall? And is he a first-round talent in your eyes?
Man, that was Shoutout like a family member. How everybody's watching. We all wanted to see him get drafted, man. And I believe that he was a first-round talent, and I think it really had to do with his dad. Like, Deion is one of the greatest athletes of all time, and he gonna let you know about it. He not one of them humble type of dudes. He he very confident in himself, man. I like that in him. But people was worried about him. He's doing his thing in Colorado right now, and if the coach is having a bad season, what you think gonna happen? All his fans and stuff is gonna be like, where Deion at? Or Deion go on Twitter and say, man, my son, the coach is doing bad. You see what he did, what Shoutout did with me. So, people worry about Deion and talking about Shoutout in interviews, but they said off-field issues, but Shoutout, he ain't never got in trouble, no nothing. So, because you have a bad interview, I know it's people in there that have had the best interviews ever and turned out to be bad. So
I will, and I'm going to just interject, I will say they gave him a couple packages in the pre-draft process that he wasn't prepared for, and that, I think the scrutiny of being a quarterback from here's the thing, whether you're in high school, whether you're in college, or whether you're in the NFL, there's pressure and homework around that position.
Right,
now,
no doubt.
Some people deal with that a little differently. Some people are more relaxed. Some people, maybe that their life has grown up around this NFL media, so maybe they're a little bit more flashy and more, a little bit despondent of that.
Yeah.
But man, it's a job, man. It's a job, and you have to do a very high quality job. And I think they felt a little bit scared to jump on a player who didn't, do the due diligence of doing every step of doing a good job at every opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're the Giants and you have the opportunity to draft a cat, but he didn't open the Jamarcus Russell, if he didn't open the film, if he didn't know, if we gave him a blank tape and he started talking about what was on it.
Yeah.
It's never a good sign, and I feel like some things can start to steer you away. I don't use this as a justification. I rock with Shoutout. Yeah. I think as a quarterback, no matter what, that's a bad sign.
Well, you gotta think, if you watch, I don't know if people out there, maybe y'all have, if y'all did, it's this Hard Knocks documentary about the offseason the Giants did last year. Brian Daboll is a coach for the New York Giants, and he had Jaden Daniels, who won the Rookie of the Year last year.
Yep.
He had him on the whiteboard, and he asked him to draw up a play.
He drew up the play.
He drew up the play.
And then he changed the line. He changed the way that the formation, the way that they lined up. He said, now switch the X to the Y, switch the Y to the W, switch the Z to the. And then he did it, and then he was like, now what do we do? And
Jaden Daniels didn't know. He forgot, but. And then, they had the narrative like he didn't know what he was doing or he wasn't prepared. But it's like, sometimes you ain't going to be the most prepared when something just thrown at you at first. This
was a package they sent him.
I know, but I'm saying, you got to think, when they come into combine interviews or combine meetings, they give 15 to 20 minutes to talk to you about this. Like, hey, on here, on this 3rd and 12, what did you see? What coverage were they in? Why did you do this? Why was this your first read? Like that. So I get maybe Shoutout probably wasn't the best prepared in that situation. But I don't think that was the only reason from him being the projected number one.
I don't think that's the only reason.
To being a 5th round pick. I think.
But we talking about
something.
The margin. The margin is small, right?
Yeah.
Like how many teams need? And this is my thing, right? Because how many teams need a quarterback that's going to play? Right
now,
these are the teams that we're applying for. Like this is if I'm Shoutout, like how many teams need a quarterback? These are the teams that need to get me.
Yep.
If not, yeah, some of the things you're talking about, a team that doesn't need a quarterback ain't going to trip. We can work with them. You know what I'm saying? So like I think about the Browns being in the position they're in, and then getting to that point and being like, no, we'll pick Shoutout.
Right.
All those things don't matter at this point. He's going to come in and have 3 other quarterbacks to compete with. He's not going to be the only guy in the room. Then all the talk is going to be around competition, which should make him better. But I do think if you're talking about the Steelers' job, if you're talking about the Saints' job, if you're talking about the Giants' job, if you're talking about all these other jobs in the NFL before Geno, the Raiders' job.
Right. And
I'm like, dude,
the Raiders to get him too.
But here's my point, right? If you're not 6'4", if you're not screaming 230 pounds, if you're not a 4'4" athlete, if you can't throw the ball 70 yards, the intangibles need to be your thing.
Right.
And so I do think the off-the-field shtick, the making songs, the personality, I do think showing up to the meeting without having prepped with the package they gave you, those things like fold into the decision not to take you as the franchise guy. Also, you're 6'1", you know what I'm saying? Like it's going to take a little bit more for me to believe in what this is going to look like. I'm saying this is the piece that I can understand. There are pieces that I can't. Like I can't understand if none of those are a problem for you. I can't understand why you'd hate on a guy from Colorado who was rocking with the O-line that didn't protect him well, throwing to receivers who all just got drafted before him, and it's like, well, you're not going to draft the cat who was throwing them the ball. Like, so I can understand where you're coming from. I think it's a job though.
Yeah.
And I think for him, the job interviews that were most important saw things as important that he didn't see as very important, and that's where. Yeah, like, all right, well, then you'll end up with a team with multiple quarterbacks, and you won't be playing year one as the starter, or you may have to compete for it.
Some of those things I can agree on, but sometimes we, in the NFL world, we get so gung-ho about intangibles, or, like, measurables, I should say. But, like, some of that stuff don't matter. It's like, people that go to the combines, they be running 4.2s, 4.3s. And then when they get in the NFL, that stuff don't translate to the field.
All of it is a projection. Like even with the best athletes, like you said, like those guys may not translate.
Right.
To this point, and to my point, Shadour's not a foolproof method. There's an opportunity for him to fail at some point, and that's real too. And all I'm saying is like, there are things in his way that can make that a little bit easier to navigate. Yeah. And I don't think all of it is like the big shit people are talking about.
No, I just don't like the like I said, like the off-field stuff. Like he not no domestic violence. He not killing people.
Yeah.
Like, he wearing chains and singing perfect timing. So people don't like that he's he confident in himself. I would rather my quarterback truthfully be confident in themselves and be like, I'm that boy. All that versus. No, I just want to have a good day.
All right, you want to know the truth though? You know what I think hurt him?
What?
He was doing all them workouts with Cam Ward, and they were streaming it.
Yeah.
And I think you saw many times the difference in attitude between him and Cam Ward. And think there were moments. If I'm being honest with you, if I'm watching that as a GM, there are like you're practicing.
Right.
There are moments in the practice where Cam Ward is like, nah, more reps. We here to do reps. We here to get better. And he's like, no, you ain't even.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
He's like, Mr. One clip, he's like, did you get better today? And then he was just telling them, and then they was arguing about something. He's like, I only drink stuff that I'm sponsored to because he had the Gatorade towel and shit like that. So,
and these are small things. I'm not saying these are big things. Obviously, being a danger to women and children around you.
Yeah, no doubt.
We don't mean to downplay that. I do think, though, there are things that affect the way you show up to work, and I think some of those have to do with his mindset. And it's okay if that affected people wanting to pay him millions of dollars. Like we can't be surprised that somebody's not trying to throw him millions of dollars because bro may have a little immature mindset at times.
I just think he is actually built for the NFL because he's been in the limelight all his life. His dad is freaking, Deion Sanders. So he's been in the limelight. He's been on reality TV shows. His older brother, he documents everything they do. So he's prepared for it. Like, so these other quarterbacks, they come in situations where they didn't have all SEC type players. And Shador had Travis Hunter. He won the Heisman. But all the other players he had, they came from the ground up. Like Jimmy Horn, he was at South Florida.
Yeah.
LaJohntay West was at FIU. Who else? Will Shepherd was at Vanderbilt. So it's like they came from the ground up. So Shador lifted them up, and Colorado receivers were them three. I think all got drafted.
They all did. Yeah.
And they were the receivers that got drafted the most. Yeah, the most. So I just think like all that stuff don't matter no more. I know he mad that he probably is mad and inside that he fell from going projected first round pick to the 5th round. But all he got to do is prove himself.
Yeah.
My favorite NFL player in the NFL is Lamar Jackson, and it was questions on him. They wanted him to change receiver. They didn't like how he threw the ball and all that. They didn't think he'd be a successful quarterback. And he's a 2-time MVP, and he one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not the best. So none of that stuff matters. He just got to prove himself. He and the Browns maybe can uplift them like he uplifted Jackson State in Colorado. So we gonna see.
Yeah, we will. Another guy that I at times compare Shador to, not a direct comparison, but I think sometimes people sleep on my guy in the NFL, and they big up my guy Shador. But when we look at the game tape, two things that pop out is these guys look a little similar. Brock Purdy got paid. Brock Purdy got paid. He's in the 50s too.
He's in the 50s.
He's in the 50s. He's at 53.
Let me hold something, Brock.
Yeah, exactly. One is are you good with that bag? Like, do you feel like that is an appropriate amount of money? And two, is he that guy, or is this a product of a Shanahan system?
First off, I disagree with you on the Shador and Brock Purdy. I think the Shador is more Joe Burrow than Brock Purdy, but that's
Joe Burrow's like 6'4".
Yeah, but I'm saying like the player wise, like Joe Burrow's not very athletic. He's a pocket quarterback.
Yeah.
But Brock Purdy, about him getting paid, I'll be trolling Niners fans too, man. Y'all know I'll be trolling, but I really don't think it's a bad quarterback. It's the market, and Brock Purdy could have went in there. He was only making $1 million in the NFL this year. This season, I should say, and he could have went in there and said, "Give me $61 million," because Dak is making $60, and he could be in there and be like, "My stats is way better than Dak, and Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love." He could have went in there and he didn't do that, so he actually took some less money so he could build more players around him. So I think it's not a bad contract, and the salary cap just went up, so it's really like paying him like $45 million, honestly. So not really a bad contract. Personally, I would have waited because, Brock Purdy had a bad season or a mediocre season or whatever you want to say. And, they just lost Debo. They lost a couple more, players on the defensive end, Travarius Ward, Ufanga. They released Hargrave. So, and Greenlaw is going too. So it would have been perfect to see how he would have did another year without those players on that team, because them was real good players. Then if he would have did good, I would have paid him, but you already paid him, so y'all gotta bite the bullet if it don't turn out how it's supposed to. And then your second question on is it he's that guy, or is it Shanahan system? I'll probably just say it's probably like 60-40 Shanahan and then Purdy, because I can't just put it all on Shanahan because he had Trey Lance, he had C.J. Beathard, he had Jimmy G. So I can't just put it all on him. His system is a great system. It's very quarterback friendly. It's very simple, and he was the offensive coordinator for RG3 when he won Rookie of the Year. So it's a great system, but sometimes it has its peaks and sometimes it has its lows. And I think Brock Purdy, I'll have him as, in my opinion, a tier 3 quarterback. The tier 1 I will have as the big four. I would say it would be Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Them is the 4. And then I will put in the second tier, I will put Jaden Daniels. I will put Jalen Hurts, Herbert, and I'll put Jared Goff in there, Matthew Stafford. And then we can put Brock Purdy in that tier 3. I see you making faces. What you think about Brock?
Because I don't know. I guess guys in different jerseys that do things at different times look better.
Yeah.
I think the stigma around Brock has folks believing that even when he does something good, he's gonna need to do something better to show you.
Yeah.
He's got better like actual playoff stats than a lot of guys you just named.
Mm-hmm.
He's beat almost all of the guys you just named in the playoffs. And he's younger than most of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think that alone
So
is
what
the
you
reason
saying,
why
though?
he deserves to get paid.
What you saying? He a top 5 quarterback?
No, I'm not saying he's a top 5 quarterback.
Okay, what you saying?
I'm saying you're naming a lot of guys who haven't beat him in the playoffs.
So who I named that he will be ahead of? No, we on a Standonit podcast.
Who did you name? Who did you name?
Tier 1. Yeah, I know you're not saying Mahomes and Lamar. And I know you're not saying...
No, but throwing Joe Burrow tier 1 is hella generous, bro. Like they lose a lot of games, fam.
But Joe Burrow just threw for 5,000
yards. Great. Win some games. We gonna say you throw for a lot of yards. So because he throws for a lot of yards, Brock Purdy was top 5 in yards last year. We were bottom 5 in the league in record. I'm like, throwing for a lot of yards doesn't actually substantiate.
So if Joe Burrow was on the Niners, what you think would happen?
He's not on the Niners.
No.
But here's my thing. If isn't a real thing.
Okay.
I'm like, what I could talk to you about is what we've seen. What I've seen
Joe
is
Burrow
Joe
been to the
Burrow
Super Bowl, though.
with 2 of the best receivers in the league.
But he didn't have no offensive line or defense.
Brother, I'm not trying to hear that. He's throwing the ball to Jamar Chase. But when we talk about Brock Purdy, we got to talk about, he got all these weapons.
He got CMC.
He has the...
CMC was just all-pro the year before he got hurt.
My point is everybody has good teammates, brother.
Yeah, but my point is what I'm saying. Do you think Brock Purdy... You seen when Brock Purdy... You seen when Brock Purdy didn't have his players. Y'all didn't even make the playoffs.
Bro, show me Joe Burrow without Jamar Chase, please.
We can't do that.
You can't even... Bro, you can't do that. You're talking about an offensive line. He didn't have no offensive line last year.
We can't do that because he ain't never did it without Jamar. But I'm saying you need good players. I hear what you're saying.
They finished under 500 one of the last 5 years.
I hear what you're saying, though. But nobody in their right mind is taking Brock Purdy over Joe Burrow.
I'm not taking. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is you're putting Joe Burrow in an A tier class when you haven't seen things from Joe Burrow that you've seen from other quarterbacks.
I seen him beat Mahomes. In AFC Championship game.
One time. I don't think that holds that much value. Actually, I just don't think that holds that much value.
So who else?
That's his Super Bowl. We get to say Joe Burrow got a Super Bowl ring because he beat Patrick Mahomes one time in a playoff game and failed to win a ring after that.
Okay, but Brock Purdy went to play Mahomes and lost.
He was in the Super Bowl, dog.
But
twice.
He lost.
He was in the Super Bowl.
He lost. Brock Purdy had a chance to redeem himself this year, and what happened?
Brock Purdy took his team in his first year to the NFC Championship, didn't even get to play that game.
Got hurt.
The next year, we went back to the NFC Championship game.
And went to the Super Bowl. Right.
When was the last time we've seen Joe Burrow go that far and then come back and go that far again?
Joe, I'm not even I'm Lamar, so Lamar played.
But this is what I'm saying. We start to group quarterbacks, and what I'm saying is, with some quarterbacks, we're like, I need to see more. But with others, man, that one time you went to the playoffs and did that one great thing, man, that was great.
So Joe Burrow.
What was Joe Burrow doing last year with a fully healthy Jamar Chase? Why did he not go to the playoffs with the best receiver in the league?
So Joe Burrow can't be in the conversation of tier 1 because he didn't go to the playoffs? I'm asking you.
I'm not. This is what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is we are awarding quarterbacks who actually have not checked off boxes, won enough games. Win games. This is the lowest one. I've got more arguments that are far more crazy than this one.
Okay.
This one is check box number 1, win games. Okay. Joe Burrow has not won enough games, especially in the playoffs, for us to just be like, oh yeah, Joe Burrow is a top 3 quarterback in the league. I just don't believe it. It's definitely 3 other quarterbacks who are better than him and Brock Purdy. And I'm not like.
So where you put? Okay, so Standonit podcast.
We're gonna have to come back for that one. We're gonna have to come back for that one with our quarterback rankings.
Yeah.
Okay. I just think we throw extra qualifications out there for my guy Brock, and I'm like, man, all right. Last year was a down year. Next year might be a little bit different. Okay. Let's look at the 2025-26 schedule. Okay. What are some matchups next season you already got circled?
Man, the schedule makers did their thing with this one. I was looking forward to seeing the Chiefs and the Eagles Super Bowl rematch because, the Eagles knocked them off, man. I ain't never seen Patrick Mahomes run like that. He probably still running today. But that's going to be a great matchup, Super Bowl rematch in Kansas City. I think that's week 2 or week 3. It might be week 2. Yeah, week 2. And then the Ravens and Bills, man, the week 1 Sunday Night Football, man, that game, that's must-see TV, bro.
Yeah, that's a must-watch.
I really feel like Lamar should have won MVP last year, but we're going to get into that later. But that's a battle of the 2 most recent MVPs. And y'all, I know y'all remember that game when Mark Andrews dropping the 2-point conversion wide open.
He had a couple drops
and he fumbled the ball too, man. So that's definitely a good matchup, man.
Yeah.
So and
that's a good one.
2 of my Super Bowl teams, I ain't gonna say which one is which that's my prediction for the Super Bowl with those 2 teams. So what about you?
My matchups are Lions Eagles and Bills Texans.
Mm-hmm.
That's a week 11 and week 12 matchup. I think it's gonna be right in that. Teams are gonna be like 8-3, you know what I'm saying, 7-4.
No doubt.
Mix. And that Bills Texans game, man, I'm excited for the run games. I'm excited for the passing. I'm excited for the secondaries. Like, that's gonna be an exciting game to watch.
No doubt. No doubt.
Who got the toughest schedule and who has the easiest? Who's got the toughest schedule?
I'm gonna let you do the easiest. I'm gonna do the toughest. I'm gonna say the New York Giants, man. I can't find 5 wins on a schedule, bro. And I know Russ did his thing with Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh didn't keep him. I just think, man, the Giants, they had a good draft pick with Abdul Carter. I love that pick with that front 4 of him, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Thibodeau. But if you're just looking at the schedule, man, they start off, we got first game of the season, they play the Commanders versus Jaden Daniels. The Cowboys, then the Chiefs, then the Chargers. That's just crazy, man. They might, I think they could win 5 games at max, bro. Maybe. Yeah. But it's just a tough schedule, bro.
Yeah, because the Patriots may come out swinging.
Yeah.
You never know.
They facing a lot of teams. I ain't going to go through their whole schedule, but
it's looking rough.
It's
the
looking
Broncos
bad.
ain't no easy out. I mean, I see, shoot.
You see
the Saints, they could walk away with a win.
They got the Eagles on here, the Broncos, like you said, the Bears.
Chargers ain't no easy.
The Bears just got more weapons for Caleb Williams on the line.
Shoot, I'm counting maybe 3. Hold on.
You know what I'm saying?
The Giants might have 3 wins.
I was being generous.
Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers,
Niners.
Eagles, Broncos, Bears, Niners, Lions, Packers. Yeah, it ain't too many wins on here for them.
Patriots, Vikings.
The team with the easiest schedule is the 49ers. I've never seen us play this many teams who were previously under 500 or did not make the playoffs last year. Teams including the Jaguars, the Saints, the Falcons, the Giants, the Panthers, the Colts,
Don't sleep on
the
the
Titans,
Panthers.
the Browns, and there are teams like the Seahawks, the Bears, there are teams like the Rams that we play, and the Chargers, and those are like the hardest, and the Texans, excuse me, those are like the hardest teams that we face. Otherwise, there's a couple teams on here that were just flat out bad last year, and then we do not play cats like the Ravens. We don't play the Bills this season.
Yeah,
we don't play the Chiefs this season. We don't play. There's a good number of teams we won't play. The Commanders.
Brock Purdy MVP?
Man, with the season looking like this, it's possible.
Y'all hear him first.
Nah, I'm not claiming. I'm not standing on that one.
We're going to get y'all on predictions week real soon.
Awesome. Which team is going to disappoint early, and we're calling this now? Which team is going to disappoint?
Oh,
Which team will disappoint? Question.
Honestly, I'm going to say the Steelers. And the reason why Mike Tomlin has a consecutive streak of no losing records.
He's
and I think
8-8 and up.
Yep, and I think this is going to be the season that he has a losing record, even if they get Aaron Rodgers. I'm not sold on them.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm not sold on them.
I agree. Which team is going to disappoint? To me, it's always the Cowboys because, let's just be honest, those idiots always think they're going to the Super Bowl, and it's really easy to say that they'll be disappointed because, I mean, you're not going to the Super Bowl. Come on. They paid Dak too much damn money. This is what I'm saying. We sit here talk all day about Brock Purdy getting paid, but somewhere somebody's okay with paying that much money to Dak Prescott.
We're going to talk about that, man.
I digress.
It's the first episode, man.
I digress.
We're going to talk about it.
2025-26 NFL season will be an exciting one. Kicks off in a very short time. We have a beautiful summer to enjoy before that. That is a wrap on our very first episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got a couple closing notes before we get on up out of here. We have some calls to action. Please like, follow, subscribe on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok at Standonitpod. Our song of the day for Tay is
Bellz. Shout out my brother. It's 2015. Y'all go tap in on all platforms, man.
For me, my song of the day is Reach Back Retain. Shout out to Jordan and Fire, Practice What You Preach. And then shout out to our artist, Bellz, with the theme song of Stand On It. We'll catch y'all next month. Thank you for tuning in.
And on this day, May 25th, 2001, my boy Kobe, long live Kobe, he had 36 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, in a win against the San Antonio Spurs to go 3-0, and they whooped their ass, 111-72. Shout out Kobe, man, the GOAT. Y'all know what it is. We out.
You pick the side, I just hope you gon' stand on it.